Well, hello everybody, welcome back. I'm really glad you could join me again. So I've just got back from a beautiful family holiday in Mallorca. I had the most lovely time with my family. The weather was incredible. In fact, sometimes a little bit too warm, but nonetheless such a beautiful time. I love being in Mallorca. I go there every year to stay at my sister's house. And the first thing that I do when I arrive is get my suitcase unpacked, run to the beach, and I have this little cove that is kind of a hidden gem that I discovered a few years ago, and there's nobody ever there. And there is this little shallow water which is crystal clear, so blue but crystal clear. You can see the sand underneath, and I just swim in there. And I swim out then into a little bit of the sea, and the sun is glistening on it, and everything's just so bright, and it just makes me want to cry because it's so beautiful. Have you ever had those moments in your life when you want to cry because life just seems to be wow, and you think, wow, what a wonderful world that we live in? So I did that, and then it was just lots of family dinners, lots of drinks, beautiful glasses of rosé, bottles of rosé, lovely food, and my sister is an excellent organizer, so she arranged for us to do lots of lovely things. So it was a lovely time. I caught some sun. Not sure whether you can see, it's a bit dark in here today, but yes, feeling rejuvenated and refreshed. Glad to be home with Sophie. I've got a few days and then I'm off to the Cotswolds with Nathan for over a week. So I thought that for today I would do a Q&A. I didn't do any filming in Mallorca. I wanted it to be a proper holiday without having to get the camera out, and no editing. So because I've only got 2 days now before I do head off again, I wanted to do something that was simple and easy, and I keep getting a lot of questions lately, so I thought it would be the great chance to answer some of them. So without further ado, let's get into this video and get onto these questions. So I'm going to start with one of the questions that I've seen again and again and again. It's probably the most common question this time. Whenever I ask people to send me questions, there's always a theme where I find that there's one question in particular that people want to know. So I'm going to do that one first, and this is a number of comments, so I'm going to read the first one that I see, which is this one. You have lost weight and look wonderful. Can you share if okay with you? So yep, this was one that I saw a lot of people asking about my weight loss. I have spoken on here in the last 9 months or so since I lost weight that I have lost weight and that I'm feeling better, back to my old self, but I haven't really shared how I did it. So I'm going to share it with you now very openly and honestly, because I think that is important when you're telling everybody how you managed to get. I've lost 2 stone, which is about 28 pounds. So I started back in September 2024. And if I'm totally honest, my lifestyle had always been quite healthy. But back in 2020, when the lockdown happened, I gained quite a bit of weight, about 20 pounds of weight. We were all at home baking banana bread, and there was not really anything to do, so I was cooking a lot, making lovely food, and I think food was one of the only things, food and drink, were one of the only things that were bringing joy and providing something to do. Everybody was in the same position. You know what it was like being at home. So yeah, I really just enjoyed cooking, baking, and I started eating all these things that I never usually eat. And I'll be very honest about this. When I've been pretty thin my whole life, and it is an effort to do so. It's the same with everybody in my family, my mum, my sister, my brother. We all have been people who watch our weight, who have to be conscious about it. We're not those people who can, eat thousands of calories and not gain a pound. We all have to try very hard. My father has always been slim, and he doesn't struggle with his weight at all, and he's very good with food in the sense that he just eats 3 meals a day, doesn't snack, and he manages to stay slim. But for the rest of us in the family, it's been more of a challenge. But I got to a point when I got to about 24 where I managed to have a lifestyle that was really sustainable. I was eating 3 meals a day, exercising, and I just didn't gain any weight. And then when the lockdown happened, it's when it all went to pot, and I gained 20 pounds over about a year, 2 years. And as somebody who is conscious of beautiful things and the way that I look and clothes and what I like to wear, it wasn't very nice feeling when you put something on that you don't look your best and that you don't look yourself. And that is what I will say. I don't think, weight is an issue at all. If you are happy with yourself, if you gain weight and you're happy with yourself, perfect. But if you're not, and it's making your life a little bit miserable, then that's when you have to do something about it. And for about 3 years, I struggled through going to the gym, dieting in a way, and I just couldn't seem to lose weight. But if I look back and analyse everything, I can see that although I was making a little bit of an effort, I was also adding things in, like a handful of fries. If I was out with a friend and they had fries, I'd maybe have a cookie with a coffee. I'd maybe have a bigger portion at dinner time. When you cook for yourself, you have to try and manage portions. And then at the weekend, I was drinking wine with friends, and they do say that 1 bottle of wine is like a whole cake. So I look back at my habits, and they were perhaps not the healthiest. So I just thought, in about September last year, I remember I was at Chateau de Curzay with Nathan, and we were taking photographs and videos, and I just hated the way that I was looking on them. I was looking quite chubby, and my clothes looked tight, and I just said to Nathan, I do not feel like myself. And he said, look, you look amazing, but if you're not happy, then you need to do something. So I decided to think back to pre-COVID about how I used to live, and I just thought I'm going to go back to those habits and stick to that for as long as I possibly can, and that should be able to get me in good stead. You know what it's like with these things. You often know how to fix an issue, but it has to be in your mind to actually fix it. Everybody knows that if you eat less and move more, you're going to lose weight, but until you can get into the mindset, you're not going to be able to achieve it. And I'd known for years how to get back to being my normal weight, but I just couldn't get into it. But this time, something clicked. I think it was because I started in September, and I had this goal that at Christmas I'd be able to fit into an old suit. And so I just decided to go back to my old eating habits. Now, I'm going to be very honest about my eating habits, and this is the routine that I have now. So if people really want to know what my diet is, I'm going to be honest about it. I'm not going to lie. I don't eat a huge amount of food. I have the same things every single day. I don't snack, and this is what keeps me in check, what makes me feel happy. But I'm not in any way telling anybody what they should do, what they should eat. This is my life, this is what I like to do, and this is what keeps me in shape. So I will have, for breakfast every day, I'll have a small yogurt. It's a cherry yogurt. It's by a company called Danone, Activia. So I'll have that with a coffee. And I'm not somebody who's ever really hungry in the morning, so that will keep me going. I go to Pilates or the gym, and then I come home, have a shower, I work for a few hours, take Sophie for a walk, and by that time it is 1 o'clock. And I'm ready for my first proper meal of the day, which is either soup or a salad. I don't have bread with either of these things. I just have the soup. I've make lots of vegetable soups, thick vegetable soups. These fill me up really well. And then I might have another coffee after that, a chai latte or something. And then I'm able to wait through to the afternoon without snacking on anything. And then I'll have my dinner in the evening, and it's the same meal every single day. Just changing the protein. So I'll have steamed sweet potato, which I then mash. I'll have either broccoli or a salad that I'll make for myself, and then it will either be a lean steak, chicken breasts, or fish. So it will be either one of those proteins with steamed sweet potato mash and vegetables or a salad. And that is the only thing that I eat through the day. So it may seem controversial, it's not a lot, but I feel very healthy. I've been to the doctor for a checkup and everything's fine, and obviously I've lost weight. I feel the healthiest I've felt for a long time. So this is what works for me. I'm just being completely honest about my diet because I think it's important to do so. I'm not going to pretend that, you know, I'm eating all these wonderful things and staying thin when I'm not. I'm eating a strict diet, and you know, maybe it won't last forever, but it lasted for a long time last time, and I just feel like this is the way I enjoy life. And then obviously sometimes I will go out for a coffee with a friend. I might have a little cake, or when I was on holiday in Mallorca, I had an ice cream once when I was there. So I will have a little treat, but I make sure this time that it's literally only once a week, because I find for myself this is how you slip back into these bad habits, and how the weight starts to pile back on is when you think, oh, I'll just have a little cake here with my coffee, or I'll have a little pudding at this dinner, and then you end up going for 3 or 4 coffees in the week, or 3 dinners with friends, and every time you're adding in all those extra calories, which for me are not what I need in my life. So yeah, I have to tell you, I am totally delighted that I finally managed to lose weight, and I'll be very honest about it as well. For me now, when I go shopping or I buy clothes and I put them on, I just think, wow, this is so much better than before when I was a little bit overweight and wasn't feeling myself. I feel totally delighted, and sometimes I can't believe that I've managed to get back, but I have. And then with exercise, so I already walk quite a lot because in Edinburgh it's a very walkable city. Everybody walks everywhere. I don't own a car. I walk Sophie in her little pushchair because she can't really walk very far. And then I will go to the gym in the morning. Maybe I'll do treadmill, I'll do a little bit of weights for tone. And the thing that I've been doing a lot recently is Pilates and bar. So Pilates, I'm doing the reformer Pilates on the beds, which I've really loved doing. I find it so enjoyable. The hour goes by very quickly, and it's a real, you feel the struggle in your body, like you feel like you've had an amazing workout. So I enjoy it very much. And with bar, I always dreamed of being a ballerina when I was young, but I never got the chance. So I just thought if I do some bar, it will give me more of a the vibe of how a ballerina moves, their posture, positioning of feet. Maybe I'll get a little bit more flexible. So I've been doing that and I'm enjoying both. So yeah, that is a super honest answer. It may be a little bit controversial. I did wonder whether to be honest about my diet and exercise, but I'm always very honest with everybody here. This is my lifestyle. This is what works for me. I feel happy, healthy. So it's been great for me, and that is just what I do. So yeah, I wouldn't advocate this lifestyle to anybody else. You have to do what is right for you, and only you knows what that is, with your doctor, of course. I've just decided to move here because I've just watched the last question back to make sure that the sound is working and stuff, and I realise that it's quite dark, so I moved my chair in front of the window so it's a little bit more bright and natural. So let's continue. Another question that people asked a lot was, do you think Edinburgh will be your forever home? There were a few questions about Edinburgh, being about, am I going to be staying in Edinburgh? Am I going to be moving back to the Cotswolds? So I will give you a little bit of an update about moving, because a few weeks ago when Nathan and I were in Paris, we were talking about maybe moving to Paris. But I have to say that when it comes to me, I'm quite somebody who has these big ideas, and I do get them through them. I do get to do them quite a lot. I'm very good at getting things done, but also I get lost in a moment, like in Paris for a week, and think I want to move there. And then when you step back and look at the real life situation, for example, am I allowed to move with my dog? Am I even allowed to move there because we're not in the EU anymore in Britain? How affordable are the apartments? What will I do for work? And when you really think about all of these things, you realise that perhaps you need to wait a little while. Certainly until, I hope it's not for a long time, Sophie isn't here anymore, because moving with the dog is not really something that is viable. So the Paris thing is on pause. We are going to be going back to Paris soon. in the autumn. We're going to spend some time there. So I think we'll keep going back, but I don't think moving there is an option. But over the last few months, I've really been thinking about my life in Edinburgh. And I'm somebody who likes to keep things fresh. I like to progress and continually think about my life and how I can improve it. And if I think it's getting stuck in any way, I like to quickly figure out how, why, and what I can do to stop it from stagnating. And I think that is very important, to edit your life in this way if you want to progress. I've never really been someone who is scared of change. I embrace change. I find it thrilling. I find it fun and exciting, and I always think about all the wonderful things that happen when you change something in your life. And then over the summer months here in Edinburgh, we've had quite bad weather. Weather is something that affects me a lot. I can't help it. I wish it wasn't the way, but I really get affected by continuous rain and grey skies. And then when you see that the rest of the UK is basking in sunshine or even blue skies, it becomes quite irritating when you think, oh, I'm all the way up here in Edinburgh, my family and friends are miles away in England, and I could probably live somewhere else that's closer and have a bit of a better lifestyle. Also, it wasn't my plan to move to Edinburgh. I moved here with my ex-boyfriend. He really wanted to live here. He kind of dragged me here, kicking and screaming. I quickly got into it though, made lots of friends, and he left and I stayed, and I made this beautiful life here, and I've had a wonderful time. But yeah, I never wanted to live in Edinburgh. So being here, this is going to be my 6th year in December that I'll be in Edinburgh. And I was talking to Nathan the other day, and I think we are definitely going to move in very early 2026. Now, where we move is up for debate, up for discussion, should I say, but I think that a big contender is a city, or I'm not sure whether it's a city or a town, I need to check, called Bath. Now, Bath is a beautiful Georgian town or city. I think it's a city because it has a cathedral. And it is very much like Edinburgh in terms of the Georgian architecture. It's very, very similar. Beautiful rows of elegant townhouses, except in Bath they used Cotswold stone, so it's golden, creamy golden colour stone. It's very, very pretty. One of the most beautiful places in the UK. And its position is about an hour and a half from London by train. It's about an hour and a half away from my parents by car. It's in the Cotswolds, basically. You've got all the beautiful Cotswolds around there, so it just seems like a beautiful, great option for us both. Nathan used to live there. He lived there for 3 years. He said he had a lovely, lovely time. He actually moved up with his boyfriend to Edinburgh because he had a job here. So we both moved for our ex-boyfriends, and I think we've enjoyed our time, but maybe it is time to start looking again. And as I was in the Cotswolds a few weeks ago staying with Maria, I do love being in England. It's my home, it's a lot warmer, it's closer to my family, and I just think that I've done Edinburgh for almost 6 years. I feel like I've ticked it off the list, I've got through everything, and yes, to stop myself from stagnating and to move forward and move on in life, I think it's time for me to now go. I've been saying it for a few years, and I just need to get on with it now and move. It's going to be very difficult. I love this house, I've made it my home. I have lots of friends here who I absolutely adore and will miss terribly, but I know that it's important to keep life moving and fresh, and that I can't keep saying, oh, I need to move, not doing anything. I would be very irritated listening to a friend of mine do that. So I know that it is time for me to move on. So in answer to the question, I don't think I'm going to be staying in Edinburgh. I certainly don't believe that I will be here this time next year. So when Nathan and I spoke about it, we said, let's have one last winter, Christmas in Edinburgh, really enjoy the beauty of it, and then we'll look at moving. We're going to move together. We're not going to move in together. We both like to have our own home and our own space. But it will be nice that we're doing the move together. We can perhaps share a moving van, storage costs, things like that. And also moving is very stressful, I'm sure many of you know. So we'll have each other to support that move. And it will be nice to move to a new place and have one friend already. So yeah, I think moving is imminent. And I think that ties into the next question, which is about Nathan and I. How did you meet Nathan and how long have you been friends? And another question that a lot of people asked again is, are you and Nathan together, or are you both in relationships? So how did I meet Nathan? I think many of you will know the answer to this question. Nathan and I started following each other on Instagram right at the very beginning in 2013. He was doing what he does now, taking pictures of luxury hotels and travel, and I was just sharing my life. At the time I was living in England in the countryside, and I shared my garden, my home, and we became friends. We would send each other an odd direct message, but we never met. And then about 3 years ago, Nathan messaged me and said he was going to be in Edinburgh for a work trip and would I like to have a drink. And so we arranged to meet at a hotel just 5 minutes away from my house. And I think we were both slightly nervous. I'll be honest, I'd never been friends with a deaf person before, and I was nervous about how we were going to communicate. And Nathan told me, he said I was nervous because I thought you were this very elegant, posh person, and he was nervous about meeting me. But we sat down and instantly we got this connection. When you do, it's very magical, and we just totally relaxed. And I have to say, it's only happened to me on a very, very small number of occasions where I meet someone for the first time and I can let myself go. I can be who I really am. I don't have to put on a show or mind my manners. I just was completely natural. So was he. We laughed and laughed and cried with laughter, and we just had the best time, and we were instant best friends. Now, we always talk about how remarkable it is. It's never really happened to me before where I've had an instant best friend like that and felt like I've known somebody my whole life. So we just knew that it was a special friendship, and we've been inseparable ever since. So we've only been friends for 3 years, but Nathan is my very best friend. I know that I can rely on him for anything. If I asked him to do anything, he would do it. If he asked me to do anything, I would do it. We know that whether we have boyfriends, partners, if we ever get married to other people, we will always have each other, and that is such a comfort, because it's quite rare in life that, you don't have to worry about ever being lonely or on your own, because you've got this best friend who is always there and will just be with you for life. So it's really, really wonderful and really, really special. I'm very, very thankful for him. And we're going to have a lovely, lovely time in the Cotswolds. We're leaving on Saturday, and I can't wait to share a vlog. It's going to be fun. So yeah, and are Nathan and I dating anybody? So Nathan, I think people get confused with Nathan's situation, because when he moved to Edinburgh, he was with somebody else, and they were engaged, but they broke up about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer. And now Nathan is dating somebody else, and he's a lovely, lovely person. I'm friends with him. We've travelled together. A few weeks ago we went to Brighton all together. He comes to stay here with Nathan, so I know him very well and we get on really well. He's a very private person. Nathan likes to keep his private life to another dimension, which is totally, totally understandable. So I'm not going to tell you anything about Nathan's boyfriend, except that he's a lovely, lovely person, and I'm delighted that they have each other, because they deserve each other. Me, I am single. I was in a relationship, I think I talked about that last year, almost 2-year relationship, and then I broke up in the very end of December 2024, so I've been single since then. But I have to say, I'm very, very happy. I've been dating, and I have to say as well, for the very first time, I'm enjoying dating. I'm somebody who really detested dating a lot. I just found it to be totally stressful. I hated the whole small talk and having to get to know somebody and then it never really leading anywhere. I just found it exhausting, and I got to a point where I was dreading going on dates, and I think because of that I wasn't really giving my true self or my best self to the other person, and it wasn't really ever working out. But something changed in me this year when I was single again, and I just realised that I have nobody to impress. I'm very happy on my own. I don't need a man to give me anything, so I just thought, why not completely reframe this in a new perspective and just look at this as a real fun thing to do, to go out for a drink or a dinner with a man, enjoy their company if they're really good looking or interesting, and just really have a fun time. And I've been doing that. I've been on quite a few dates over the last few months. Some of them have worked out well, some of them haven't, but what I can say is that I'm enjoying them, which is a really wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm having a fun time, I'm enjoying other people's company, and I'm being myself, which is a lovely thing to feel, that you're giving somebody the real you so that they can enjoy themselves as well. Because if you're not being yourself, how can they really know who you are, and how can they be themselves? So yeah, I'm not looking to get into a relationship just now, I don't think, unless somebody really incredible comes along, because I did find that in my last relationship, it was very nice to have somebody, but then I was single for a few years and I got used to living my own life on my own terms. And when you get a boyfriend or a partner, and you have to adapt your life to meet theirs. It's all about give and take. And I found that it was quite stressful a lot of the time, trying to please the other person and trying to convey my feelings to them. It's very, very hard. Relationships are difficult, and I think I'm much happier being on my own, truly. So yeah, I'm very, very happy. I'm enjoying dating again. It's fun, and I'm just having a lovely, lovely time, so it's perfect. Okay, so the next question, I thought I would answer this one because it's something that I've wanted to talk about, is are there any plans to bring back the teas, candles, etc., and any other new products? So you may remember that I launched my own brand about 3 years ago, and I had a candle, a diffuser, linen napkins, my own brand of tea, and my own prints, botanical prints. And then last year, the beginning of last year, I turned off my online store, and I parked that part of my business. Now, the reason why is because I was in a business relationship with somebody, and we decided to end that relationship, and I just felt, because we created these products together, that it just didn't sit well with me to carry on selling them. I wanted something new and fresh. I have a little bit of stock left of candles and diffusers, and I am thinking that I'm going to relaunch these back on the website for one more time to get rid of them, and I would like to use the money to then fund my new brand of products. So Nathan and I are considering creating a new brand, Rollinson Fairford, which we already have, which is a social media consultancy, but we would like to turn this into a homewares brand, starting with beautiful fragrances, things for the home, just lovely, lovely things, but in our more chic style. So I am going to relaunch the candles and diffusers again, my Botanica fragrance, which I still really love and am so proud of, but that was my past. And again, in talking about keeping things fresh and not stagnating and moving on, I don't want to really move forward with that anymore. I want to put that in the past and move ahead. So I'm going to relaunch the candles soon, just in time for the autumn-winter period. I will put those on, and then once they're gone, they will be gone forever. I'm not going to relaunch that ever again. And then I will start working on the new brand with Nathan. But yeah, we both adore fragrance, as you know. Nathan has the most incredible nose I've ever known. He can pick a fragrance out of a shop or a boutique, and I will smell it first and be like, and then he will smell it and he will buy it and he will wear it, and then I'll be like, oh, what is that amazing fragrance? He's got an expert nose. And what I like is that we have a little bit of difference in our tastes. He is more about the strong, rich fragrances, and I'm more about the delicate, the natural, the floral. But I think these two things can complement each other very, very well. So because we both have a great experience in fragrance, we both have a real love and passion for fragrance, it just seems like a natural thing for us to do. We've already thought about what we want the brand to look like in terms of packaging. It's going to be very simple and chic and clean. And we want to do 2 or 3 candles, 2 or 3 diffusers, some room sprays, and then we will add on other things to that brand as well. So I think next year that will be happening. It's very exciting. So yeah, I will be bringing back my products, but it will be limited edition, and once they're sold, I'll never bring them back again, and then I will move on to the next thing. So it's exciting. So the next question is one that I've never had before. Over my 5 years of doing YouTube, I've done a few Q&As, and this is one that I never had before, so I thought it'd be fun to answer it. And it also has a message to it. So it says, if you ever go out to dinner by yourself, do you prefer to eat at the bar or at a table? And I really liked this question. So I am somebody who goes out to dinner a lot on my own, and I think it's one of those things that sounds quite sad and a bit lonely, but I think I read a quote a few years ago that said, if you can go to dinner on your own and go to the movies on your own, you can do anything in life. And I really do agree with that statement. And for the first time I ever went to dinner on my own, I did feel nervous and scared. I felt very self-conscious walking into a restaurant, sitting at a table. Everybody else was in couples or groups and eating this dinner. But as I eased into the situation, I realised that nobody was looking at me, they were only interested in themselves. And sitting at this beautifully laid table with a white tablecloth, cutlery, bone china plates, a lovely bottle of wine and beautiful food, still a wonderful, wonderful experience. Now, I'm not saying that I prefer to go to dinner on my own over going out with friends or someone else, but I am capable of going out for dinner by myself, and I do think that it is a very great thing to do and a great skill to acquire if you've never done it before. And it's not just the act of doing it, it's actually what it does for you in terms of mental strength, confidence, and just a metaphor for life, that if you can do that, you can do anything. Because going out to dinner on your own is not something that many people do. So yeah, I do go out for dinner on my own, and I do like to sit at the table. I think if you sit at the bar, it's kind of giving yourself a little bit of a free pass. It's not really going out to dinner on your own, because there might be somebody who comes to sit close to you at the bar. The barman is always behind the bar making drinks. He will probably chat to you. So it's not the same thing. You need to go out to dinner on your own, sit at the table and just enjoy your own company. And I promise it's not as bad as it seems, and it will just build this resilience and this thing in you that you are your own person, you're strong, and you can do anything. So I implore you all to give it a go, and I'd love to know what you think. So I feel like this Q&A is quite philosophical. It's been very much about life and progress and relationships. It's been a little bit of a deep one, and I quite like that sometimes. Maybe that's the theme for this Q&A. A lot of the questions are things like, what's your favourite food, what's your favourite colour? I think we'll park those ones away for another time. I'm quite enjoying this deepness, and it gives people a chance to really get to know me and me to share things. So we'll stick with that. I hope you don't mind. So the next question is a big one. Are you happy, and what is happiness for you? So I can sit here and say very honestly that yes, I am happy. I haven't been happy always in the last few years, especially 2021 to 2023. But since the beginning of 2024, I made a big change in my life, a huge change, which I'm going to talk about in the podcast with Nathan. Well, I've already talked about it because it's pre-recorded, which will be out in September. I will talk about that for the first time so you can understand what I'm talking about. But I made this huge life decision, and it just, since I did that, my life just clicked into place in every single way, and happiness found me again. For me, happiness is really more about feeling content. I'm not saying that I'm walking around smiling all the time and I'm totally happy. Obviously, some days I feel a little bit down. Sometimes I'm feeling a little bit lost. But what I can say is that I feel content. And I think that for me is the ultimate happiness, is to feel content. If you can sit in your life every day and not live in the future or live in the past, just try to live in the moment, that is going to make your life so much more happy. And I think for me, I sit in my life every day, I go through my life and I feel content. I'm not searching for something. If this is all I ever have, it will be enough for me. I've got a beautiful home, I've got lovely friends, I get to do a job that I enjoy, I've got lovely people around me. I just feel content and happy with my life. So for me, that is happiness. It's not chasing something in the future. It's not dwelling on the past and thinking, oh, I wish I'd done this, or I wish I hadn't said that. It's just living in the now and being happy with it. And for me, it is the small things like waking up in the morning, enjoying a cup of tea in a beautiful china cup. It's going for a walk and seeing the beautiful changes in nature. It's laying on the sofa with my Sophie and having a little cuddle. It's going for a glass of wine with my friends and having a good laugh and a chat. It's going shopping and finding the perfect fitting t-shirt and buying 5 of them. It's just all those tiny, tiny things that make me feel happy and content. And then when you get to do something wonderful, like go to Mallorca for a week and swim in a crystal clear ocean, then happiness is just added on top and it becomes even more beautiful. So I would say that happiness is living every day beautifully and feeling content. And I hope for everybody that you get to feel that. And I hope that for me, I get to feel it for the rest of my life, because it's a special and important thing. Okay, I do have a lot more questions. I think I'm going to do a post on my Substack answering the rest of them, because I feel like I've spent a lot of time answering each question here. I've only answered 5 or 6, but I feel like they're deep ones, and I don't want this video to run on and on and on. Keep it nice and in good time. So yeah, I've really enjoyed sitting here having a chat and a catch up. I hope that you have too, and it's helped you to understand some things perhaps you were wondering about, or that you wanted to know. And I hope that you've just enjoyed getting to know me a little bit better if you're new here. But yes, that is all for now. I am going to get on with my day. I've got quite a lot to do. I've had to do all my laundry, get it washed and dried and ironed, ready to repack for the Cotswolds. We're driving down on Saturday morning. It is Thursday afternoon now. Sophie tomorrow is going for her groom, and then I am filming with Dan in the afternoon, my videographer, so it's a very, very busy time, and then I need to pack for 10 days in the Cotswolds. So yeah, driving down on Saturday morning. It should take about 7 hours with a stop, and then we've got a lovely week of relaxing and enjoying ourselves. I can't wait. Nathan was away in Jersey for the whole month. We've had a few catch-ups over the last few days, but this is going to be our chance to really catch up and really have some fun. So I'm excited. I'm going to be filming the whole thing. So yes, please do come back, probably next Thursday, when I'll have a lovely vlog for you. But I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you everybody who did send in a question. Really appreciate it as always. Appreciate all your support. I love you all very, very much. Take care. Bye-bye.